Good evening and a warm welcome to GBS News at 9 today, Friday, the 17th of February 2023. You're joining us live from Good News Television, Nairobi. My name is Beatrice Njeri. Our sign language interpreter is Paul Mathenge. And together we'll be bringing you the leading news of the hour. President William Ruto has appealed for more support in fighting the ongoing drought in the country, which has now reached the crisis level. Speaking after receiving the 2022 Short Rains Assessment Report at State House in Nairobi on Thursday, the president said the devastating drought has led to widespread distress and suffering among Kenyans from the affected areas. Latest statistics from the National Drought Management Authority indicate that drought in Kilifi, Mandera, Marsabit, Samburu, Turkana, Wajir, Isiolo, Kitui and Kajiado counties has reached the alarm stage. Here are the details.
President William Ruto on Thursday appealed for more support in fighting the ongoing drought in the country, which has now reached a crisis level. Speaking after receiving the 2022 Short Rains of October to December Assessment Report at State House, Nairobi, the president said the devastating drought has led to widespread distress and suffering among Kenyans from the affected areas. The prevailing situation has been attributed to 4 consecutive failed rainy seasons and the late onset and poorly distributed short rain season in 2022.
Pastoral livelihoods are largely devastated due to prolonged severe scarcity of water and pasture. Millions of animals, the mainstay of these communities' economy, have died, rendering families extremely vulnerable and unable to meet their needs without assistance. We recognize our current crisis as a devastating signal of steadily worsening climate crisis, which is chiefly caused by human activity and can also be managed through more responsible stewardship of our national heritage. As humanity, we stand to benefit immensely from ecological restoration and correction of Earth's vital systems. And this is not going to be an individual effort, it is going to be a collective assignment for all of us as humanity and from across the globe. For the people of Kenya, the commitment to do our part is absolute, and our government must therefore move decisively to actualize this aspiration.
Accompanied by his deputy, cabinet secretaries, diplomats, the National Steering Committee on Drought Response and the private sector, the head of state called upon development partners, the private sector and well-wishers to step forward and support the government in saving lives and building long-term resilience.
The interventions under consideration for the medium term include diversification of activities and value chains, mitigation of dependence on rain-fed agriculture, construction of strategic water reservoirs, dams, ponds, and strengthening pastoral supply chains. I would really appreciate a lot of support in matters environment. I am very happy that there is a conversation in this room about supporting our Kenya Forest Service and KEFRI for us to walk the journey of greening our country as part of the efforts that we must make to deal with matters of climate change.
Japanese government decided to commit like a 23 million US dollars, equivalent to the almost 3 billion Kenya shillings, for the address of this urgency issues.
The 2022 Short Rains of October to December Assessment Report launched by the President focused on 32 arid and semi-arid areas and non-ASAL counties. The report determined the impact of the short rains on food and nutrition security in 32 targeted counties, considering cumulative efforts of previous rain seasons and impacts of other shocks with bearing on food security and recommended priority response interventions. Latest statistics from the National Drought Management Authority, NDMA, indicate that drought in Kilifi, Mandera, Marsabit, Samburu, Turkana, Wajir, Isiolo, Kitui and Kajiado counties have reached the alarm stage. Others such as Embu, Narok, Taita Taveta, Makueni, Meru, Nyeri and Lamu counties are in the alert drought phase. Hilary Kabila, GBS News.
President William Ruto, accompanied by Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Alfred Mutua, on Friday arrived in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, for the 36th ordinary session of the African Union Heads of State and Government Summit slotted to take place between the 17th and 19th of February. He called for political leadership in the Democratic Republic of the Congo to drive stability in the country. President Ruto is also expected to moderate a meeting to review the outcomes and implications of last year's COP27 for Africa. Let's take a look. President William Ruto on Friday arrived in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, ahead of the 36th ordinary session of the African Union Heads of State and Government Summit slotted to take place between February 17th and 19th. He called for political leadership in the Democratic Republic of Congo to drive stability in the country. Climate change, inter-African trade, and the continent's state of security will be some of the issues that will be deliberated on by the heads of state during the summit. As the chair and coordinator of the Committee of African Heads of State and Government on Climate Change, President Ruto is also expected to moderate a meeting to review the outcomes and implications of last year's COP27 for the Africa and also advocate the continent's potential to lead the world. The objectives of the African Union include achieving greater unity, cohesion and solidarity between the African countries and the African nations, defending the sovereignty, territorial integrity and independence of its member states, to advance the development of the continent by promoting research in all fields, in particular in science and technology, to work with relevant international partners in the eradication of preventable diseases and promotion of good health on the continent, among others. President William Ruto is currently in Ethiopia for the 36th ordinary session of the African Union Heads of States and Government Summit that will end on the 19th of February. Bitis Njeri, GBS News. GEM Member of Parliament Elisha Odhiambo today became the second legislator from Siaya to face threats of expulsion from the Orange Democratic Movement Party after GEM ODM branch recommended his injection of a visit to State House for a fortnight ago. As calls for expulsion of alleged Rigne, the Orange Democratic Movement legislator, gained momentum, GEM ODM branch executive committee meeting held at Sagam Trading Center further kicked out the legislator and some of his allies from the positions held at the branch, where Odhiambo was a representative of the special interest group. Addressing the press after the meeting, the branch chairman Nick Ochola said that the legislator had one of the branch executive committee members, John Ogam Maramba, had been working for the interests of the ODM rivals and had campaigned against the ODM candidates in the last general elections. The legislator has been accused of championing the interests and policies of the rival parties by meeting the leadership of the United Democratic Alliance at State House, Nairobi on the 7th of February 2023, thus violating the ODM constitution, say the GEM branch chairman. The party's Siaya County Coordinating Committee chairman Olo Ukanda held the decision of the GEM branch, adding that the party must weed out people who are not loyal.
The reasons which were cited was that on the 13th of February 2023, in open defiance of the ODM party leader, the two convened a meeting in the rural home of Honorable Elisha Odhiambo and blatantly and arrogantly vowed that they will continue with the association with the leader and deputy party leader of the UDA party. And to this effect, evidences have been tabled and the same will be submitted to the party headquarters in Nairobi. Signed by Honorable Nick Ochola. That's end of statement. Thank you.
I've just heard news about a meeting that took place in GEM and the steps they have taken to replace errant members. And I must say that that's the right direction that all branches, like I had said earlier, must take to clean the party. Like my compatriot Kajwang had said, loyalty shall be #1 consideration. If we deem that you are in dalliance with our competitor, you must step aside. So the GEM branch has taken steps to clean the party within. So I'm in total support of that. And just like Bondo, where the MP was the Secretary General, he had to step aside. So the officials who purport to be officials in game must also be removed to pave way for people who we think are.
The Ministry of Education has raised concerns after more than 200,000 learners failed to appear for grade 7 admission. The learners are supposed to be in their third week of junior secondary following the onset of learning on the 30th of January. This follows a concern as many public schools struggle structurally to host the pioneer junior secondary school students, while most private schools seem to be ahead of the game. The delay is attributed to the delayed deployment of teachers in their new stations, among other conditions. Here is a report. While private junior secondary schools carry on with their academic activities, the majority of public secondary schools are struggling to kick off. This struggle is attributed to the delayed deployment of teachers to schools by the Teacher Service Commission and infrastructure strains, among other reasons. The Ministry of Education has raised concerns after more than 200,000 learners failed to appear for grade 7 admission. The learners are supposed to be in their third week of junior secondary following the onset of learning on the 30th of January. Parents and learners are in a crisis as many public junior secondary schools are struggling with an influx of a large number of learners and high fees charged by private institutions. Among those private primary schools ahead of the game to host the pioneer junior secondary school include Bomet-based Galaxy schools, where the junior secondary classes stand alone away from primary schools as in public and other schools. According to the school's director, Patricia Tanui, they wanted to make a difference among the students by separating them from primary school pupils. She hailed the recent research that indicated that most parents prefer the competency-based curriculum to the previous 844 system, further thanking the Education Ministry for not discriminating against private schools in the implementation of the new curriculum.
I want to thank the Ministry of Education through the County Director, Bomet, for giving us a chance to host junior secondary school. It nurtures the talents of the learners.
In addition, the Bomet County Director of Education, Mr. Apollo Apuku, hailed the school, terming it as a model that schools should benchmark on. He advised the junior secondary students to shun primary school behaviors by being disciplined and mature, and also cautioned them against premature sexual relationships.
JSS means junior secondary school, and therefore you are no longer in primary, but you are in secondary. And therefore the behavior and the way you engage with other students should be the behavior of mature students in secondary school. Mature behavior means that you must really be respectful. Respectful to your teachers, respectful to your fellow students, and respectful to your parents. This is what we call discipline.
More than 1 million learners are joining junior secondary schools at a time when the government is yet to finalize the deployment of 30,000 teachers to teach the newly introduced section of schools. The government is faced with the headache of teachers shortage and inadequate facilities, though it released guidelines on the junior secondary schools. Teachers, parents, and other educational stakeholders say there are many grey areas to be addressed. But amidst the challenges, the government has directed head teachers to make do with the available resources and infrastructure as they admit the learners. Bitis Njeri, GBS News. Once again, thank you for joining this live broadcast, and of course engage us through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa in all our social media handles. And on that note, let's take our first quick commercial break. We will be right back. Welcome to Mahanaim International High School. Are you worried about the character of your child? Mahanaim is the best Christian and character building school and offer British National Curriculum, IGCSE O-Level and GCE A-Level, and mixed day and boarding school. For more inquiry, call 0710 111 333.
everywhere. GBS.
Welcome back, and moving on with our bulletin tonight, residents of Kilifi demonstrated in the streets of Kilifi celebrating Ezekot in Malindi on Thursday dismissed a petition challenging the election of Gideon Mung'aro as the Kilifi governor. The petition was filed by supporters of Pamoja African Alliance Party Justin Chinga Chirume, Justin Charo Mbaya and Salim Chai, claiming that the election of Mung'aro and his deputy Flora Chimbule was fraudulent and asked the court to nullify their victory. Let's take a look.
Basi kwanza waacheni nichukue nafasi hii niwashukuru sana kwa vile mmejitokeza. Kwanza nataka nimpongeze wakili ambaye alikuwa anaongoza wale mawakili wengine. Wakili wakili aliyekuwa anaongoza hii kesi. Kama mnavyojua kesi leo imefanywa mtandao. Mimi niko na mgeni balozi wa kutoka Slovakia, tunafanya mambo ya korosho. Lakini mawakili walikuwa hapa kwa ofisi yangu, na wakili anaongoza kesi hii anaitwa Olekina, ako pale Malindi. Lakini wenzake wako hapa, hata mmoja ataongea. Wakili aliyekuwa akiongoza kesi hii ni Olekina kutoka kule Malindi, akisaidiwa na Benjamin Binyenya ambaye yuko hapa, wakisaidiana na bwana Malombo ambaye amekuwa hapa asubuhi. Bahati mbaya Malombo pia ni mlemavu, kwa hivyo kuteremka kwa gari yaingia hapa na alifanywa upasuaji juzi. Lakini alikuwa baadhi ya wale mawakili walikuwa waine, Binyenya atasema wale wengine. Lakini mimi nilijua toka mwanzo kwamba hii kesi hakuna mahali inaenda. Watu walikuwa na story mingi kwa mtandao.
And neighboring Syria had been rocked by a devastating earthquake on 6 February, which has killed more than 41,000 people and left millions in need of humanitarian aid, with many survivors having been left homeless in near freezing winter temperatures. Over 6,444 homes have been destroyed by the recent earthquake, and the country have promised to reconstruct them all as possible.
On the first day, of course, there were some difficulties, but then on the second day and today, the situation was under control. And from now on, our work on the debris is continuing. But on the other hand, our Ministry of Environment and Urbanization will hopefully start the cleanup. We had some problems in some places. In the first stage, we had problems on the roads, but we're more comfortable today. We will be more comfortable tomorrow. I believe that we will be more and more comfortable. There are some minor problems regarding fuel and so on. We are overcoming them one by one.
Growth for Turkey, the single biggest recipient of EBRD funds, has been revised down to 3% from 3.5% in 2023, without considering the impact of the earthquake in the estimate. The bank added that growing external financing requirement and political uncertainty associated with election in 2023 created significant economic vulnerabilities. Turkey's earthquake has thrown into disarray plan for election to be held by June, sparking frantic debate within President Tayyip Erdogan government and the opposition over a possible delay.
This period is the period of unity. It is the time of solidarity. In such a period, I do not digest viciously negative campaigns conducted in the name of mere political interests. If I were not responsible for my position, I would not be speaking like that today. I would be speaking quite differently.
As the depreciation of the Turkish lira outpaced inflation since 2015, Turkish exports have been growing fast, benefiting from lower cost expressed in US dollars. Lino Lunjok, GBS News.
A woman who says President Donald Trump raped her in the 1990s arrived to the court to hear lawyers argue whether Trump can substitute the United States for himself as the defendant in her defamation lawsuit. But seconds after Jean Carroll walked into the Manhattan Federal Courthouse on Wednesday, a Justice Department lawyer told the judge that the government's lawyer was denied access to the courthouse because he came from Virginia, which had been added to states requiring quarantine. The government requested a postponement of the hearing. Lawyers were planning to argue over whether Trump can claim that he was acting in an official capacity when making statements denying the encounter with Carroll in a luxury department store dressing room. Let's take a look.
E. Jean Carroll was a 52-year-old media hosting an advice show when she said the encounter with Trump occurred sometime between the fall of 1995 and spring of 1996. The lawsuit said they ended up together in a dress room after teasing each other to try on a see-through lilac-grade bodysuit. Carroll said in a lawsuit originally filed in Montana State Court that she remained silent during the 2016 presidential campaign, in part because her mother, a respected Republican in Indiana, was dying at the time and she didn't want to add to her pain.
A woman who makes a complaint against a powerful man, women in this country must be assured that her case will not be tossed off to the DOJ. I'm saying Robbie and Joshua are writing this wrong, so women can be secure in America that when they file a complaint against a powerful man, it will not be tossed to the DOJ. So this is just not for me. This is for every woman in America.
Donald Trump argued that Carroll had falsely accused other men of rape and that she lied about him to advance a secret political conspiracy and that the woman was never her type. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has signaled to his legal team that he is willing to turn over his DNA in the ongoing sexual battery lawsuit from E. Jean Carroll that will be going on to trial soon. But there is a catch here. The time period for discovery and gathering evidence has ended, and Trump's team has not officially informed Carroll's team of the offer. Experts believe that Trump is trying to trick the potential jurors into thinking something that never happened. The judge rejected Trump's late offer to provide DNA in Trump's accused Carroll lawsuit. Lino Lunchok, GBS News.
Do keep the comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa in all our social media handles. And that news ushers us to our sports news. For the lovers of sports, yes, it is time for your favorite part of the news. But first, let's take a quick commercial break.
Na kukaribisha tena katika makao makuu yako katika ulimwengu wa michezo.
Yoga is not a sport. Yoga is actually a way of life.
Ukiona FIFA inaingilia kati, it means that the FIFA rules have been violated.
From day one akiingia kwa akademi yako, unamwambia masomo na talent lazima ziende. The moment nasikia masomo imeenda chini, hata time out. Hata hiyo time out kwa football account.
Yeah, wanawake ni wengi actually mpaka saa hizi. Tumekaa ni kama tumekuwa wanawake wamekuwa wengi kuliko wanaume. Kuna wale ambao ni artistic. Yes, wanapenda mambo ya kuigiza.
I am coded to look for solutions.
You limit yourself, not the sport doesn't limit you.
We say a dedicated women-only show that focuses only on women.
Is one of the activities of IYF. IYF being an NGO focused on the empowerment of the youth, we have various activities. So one of the program now is the IYF Weekend Academy. It started way back in the year 2009. And through this, we want to empower the youth with the soft skills that are necessary for their growth. So we prepare various academies, various programs so that they can be able to be nurtured in terms of the soft skill that's needed. We say we supplement what education is doing. Education is teaching them the knowledge part of it, but for us in the Weekend Academy, we want to give that platform where they can be able to now practice what they have learned.
So my name is Eric Moura. Currently I'm doing camera operation. IYF is very important because one of the things I've gotten a chance to learn a lot through camera operation. I've also gotten a chance to host one of the shows known as SportZoom, So IOF is very good because even camera operation, I did not know there are different types of cameras. I did not know how to operate a camera, but through IOF, I gotten a chance to know all this. Thank you.
The IOF Weekend Academy teacher for the camera operations. It has been a nice experience seeing young men coming, learning things to do with filming, and also bringing out the passion that lays underneath. Then I'm very much happy because I know and I believe that soon they will also make a living out of it.
Everywhere, GBS.
Tusker will take Mathare tomorrow at Ruaraka Stadium, with Matano's side looking to fall out of place after recording poor results recently. The Brewers stand at the 6th place with 25 points in 14 matches, while Mathare stand in the 16th place with 10 points in 13 matches. On the other hand, African Cup for Club competition went on the 5th day today, with Kenya Western Jaguars losing Zamalek of Zambia and Executive of Ghana crushing Wetherland of Uganda 8-1. McDonald with a full report.
Tusker will face Mathare tomorrow at Ruaraka Stadium on the FKF Premier League. Tusker, who slipped from the 1st place to the 6th place on the league table, have to win tomorrow's match to give hopes to their fans to reclaim the league title. The reigning champions lost to Gor Mahia last weekend, who took the lead of the league table earlier this week after crushing Wazito 4-0. Gor Mahia now stand at the 1st place with 33 points in 14 matches, while Tusker are at the 6th place with 25 points in 14 matches. Gor Mahia will face Ulinzi tomorrow at Nyayo Stadium. Nzoia Sugar will face Posta Rangers at Sudi Stadium, as Baraza, still on the race to win the title, seems they are on the 2nd place with 31 points in 15 matches. African Cup Hockey Club competitions took the 5th day today at Dashman Stadium, Sikh Union, as Weatherhead Hockey Club from Uganda faced Exchequers from Ghana. The match seemed to be tough for both sides, with the first half ending on a goalless draw. Ghanaian team Exchequers came on the 2nd place with a different formation, crushing Weatherhead 8-1. On the other hand, Zamalek of Zambia crushed Western Jaguars of Kenya 1-0. At the same Silk Union today, Western Jaguars started the competitions well on 13th after crushing Hip of Zimbabwe, and on 14th crushing Weatherhead of Uganda, but today's match seemed to be more challenging. The competitions kicked off on 13th and the finals will be on Sunday, 19th. Reporting for GBS TV, I'm McDonald.
And now to international sports news. Marcus Rashford's inspirational second half performance was not quite enough for Manchester United, as Barcelona fought back to claim a 2-2 draw in the Europa League knockout round play of first leg. On the other hand, Arsenal will be seeking to reclaim their first place as they face Aston Villa tomorrow at Villa Park Stadium. Let's take a look.
Arrived at Camp Nou with the pre-match praise from Erik ten Hag and Xavi ringing in his ears, and the forehand backed up the manager's ones by drawing Manchester United level. Smashing a shot past Marc-Andre ter Stegen 2 minutes after Marcos Alonso and handed Barcelona into a 58th minute lead. Manchester United set to claim another famous win at Camp Nou, the scene of the 1999 Champions League success, but Rafinha dashed those hopes when his in-swinging cross found its way into David De Gea far post to set up a tantalizing second leg at Old Trafford next week. Arsenal will face Aston Villa tomorrow on the English Premier League. Arsenal will be seeking to win after slipping down to the 2nd place. Arsenal lost to Manchester City on Wednesday, and earlier lost to Everton and went on 1-1 draw with Brentford. On the other hand, Aston Villa and earlier lost to Manchester City and Leicester, and they will be seeking to secure 3 points against well-organized Gunners. Liverpool won their first EPL match this year when they crushed Everton 2-0. Liverpool had been on a poor form this season, with the squad succumbing a number of injuries. They will face 4th place Newcastle tomorrow. Newcastle will be seeking to remain on the top 4 as they still seek to win the league title. Chelsea will face Southampton tomorrow, while Manchester United will face Leicester on Sunday. Reporting for GBS TV, I'm McDonald.
Thank you, McDonald, for that detailed report. And that marks the end of our news segment tonight. Do keep the comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa in all our social media handles. Even as we dive into the weekend, do make sure to drive safe, keep safe, eat safe, and be safe. And of course, here at GBS News at 9, we make your news our business. My name is Beatrice Njeri. Our sign language interpreter is Paul Mathenke. Good night.
Everywhere, GBS.